Yay Networks.
Hello, everybody. Man, I'm so excited. I got Mimi back with me, and this is the Real Talk Kim podcast. Mimi, this is probably one of my favorite things to do. I love to do podcasts with you.
Oh, you just made my day.
Oh, so y'all.
You made my holiday season.
Oh, so we are here today to bring you joy. We're in December.
Yes, we're ushering in
Yes,
Christmas.
We're in December. Mimi,
of course, we've had our tree up for forever.
That is so funny. Man, you've had our tree up before, like the 1st of October.
But I wouldn't turn my lights on.
I
have my tree up.
She would not turn her lights on because she said she did not want people to talk about her because she put her tree up early.
Because I would be, they're thinking, what's that crazy woman doing up there in that condo?
But you know what, Mimi? I heard that if people that put their trees up early seem to be, are people that are happier.
Oh, that's awesome then.
Don't you feel that?
Yeah, because I love my tree.
So we put our tree up early, but when do you take it down?
Right after Christmas.
Do you? So you're like tired of it by January? Yeah, I do
you
too.
leave yours up?
No,
you
I
don't.
take mine down too.
Some people leave theirs up half the month though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So I put my tree up and I got a new one and it's pink and you can see it back there. I have thoroughly enjoyed this pink tree. So y'all listen, if you ain't put your tree up yet, break the rules. You're in the 1st of December. Break the rules.
Please put it up.
And put your tree up. You know, I'm dating a sweet guy and he is a different race. And he tells me all the time.
He is?
Yeah. He says, we don't put our trees up until December the 12th.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm giving all of y'all permission right now to go put your trees
Yes,
up.
and everybody has their own traditions, don't
Yeah, they do. So we're going to talk about a little bit of that. And I want to thank you for being with us. I am Real Talk Kim. This is Mimi. She's my mother. I just found out the other day on the road that nobody knew who Mimi was. They didn't know if you were they didn't know who you were to me. I was like, Mimi doesn't signify that she's my mom. They were like, we just didn't know because why would you call your mom Mimi? No. I said, because she's been branded Mimi. When I had kids, she's not my mama anymore. She's
Morgan
Mimi.
did it. My first grandson did it.
Yeah, he did. So y'all go get your RTK journals. Go get yourself comfortable. Some of y'all listen to this on the way to work. Man, a lot of y'all listen to this podcast while you're working out, which makes me very happy.
Yeah,
and get ready because today we're going to talk about all the feels. We're going to talk about stuff that a lot of people don't talk about, which is what we do a lot. And if you would be so kind right now, what I want you to do is I want you to go to wherever you're watching this at. If you're on Instagram or whether you're on anywhere, Apple Podcast, if you're on the YouTube channel, Real Talk Kim YouTube channel, make sure that you're subscribing. Push that subscribe button right now. Every single Monday and Wednesday, I upload a new podcast. Mondays is the sermon I preached on Sunday at Limitless, which is the church I pastor. And then Wednesday is this. And this whole month, y'all, I have guests coming in. I got relationship experts. I've got Mimi on with me. And we're going to be discussing some hard questions, some situations that will help you through your situation as well. So here's what I also want to tell you. We have an email just for you. If you would like for us starting the new year, send emails of what you would like for us to talk about.
That's good.
All right. So
subjects.
Yep, subjects.
What touches your heart?
And what would you like answers on? Maybe some of y'all have been in a fight your whole life and just need some wisdom from Mimi and Real Talk Kim here. So go to rtkquestions@gmail.com and give us your questions of what you would like for us to talk about, and we will hit that at the beginning of the year. So right now, go get your pad, go get your paper, get your kids in bed, get you some popcorn, and let's chop it up. I'm going to send this off to a break, and then I'll be
Give you time to come back.
See you in a second. everybody, and welcome back. Hi, Mimi.
Hi, baby.
AKA my mom.
She's
This
still
is
my
mom.
baby.
I am still her baby. This is Mimi, and she is my guest today. Y'all love when Mimi is on here. So, Mimi, about 3 weeks ago, so you've been doing these podcasts with me, and it was Daddy's birthday.
Yes, and oof.
And y'all, she's already got tissue.
It was a tough time.
She's already got tissue. She said, I think I might cry. So it was Daddy's birthday, October. Yes. And you got a little verklempt.
I did.
A little sappy. So did I.
That was the word for us, sappy.
It was
for
so
some reason.
weird, Mimi, because
we both did. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
it's been 3 years.
I've really handled Daddy's death. Like, I'm not like you. I can't have pictures of him all over the place. Like, that was the way I healed. I literally could not put pictures of him in my house because it made me really sad. And I realized...
And then I had a picture as big as me. And
yo, she had these poster board size pictures of Daddy, and she'd walk by him and say, hey, baby. And so I've handled, his death.
Oh, look. Let me dab this tear away.
I've handled his death, man. I've handled his death like... different than you. We all handle grief differently. And I found that in that process for about that first week, you got real quiet. And then one night I was talking to you on the phone.
Ooh, that did it.
And you said, I just gotta figure out my place. And all of a sudden I thought, find your place. Like, you own your place. Like, Mimi, you are the queen. But there are people on here right now, Mimi, that have... Look, I'm going to cry, too.
Look at me.
Maybe it's
already.
that time of month for me.
I just hate that.
It's got to be that time of month for me, because, listen, I feel
it. It's holiday season.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, look at me.
And a lot of great things are happening in our lives.
I need a dabber, someone else that can dab my eyes while I'm...
So we got some people watching us today that have... literally not really known how to mourn and move.
And we've done fantastic.
Yeah, here, wipe it right here because your little mascara. Look, we got to make sure you look fabulous. I'm going to keep you on point. Just wipe under your eye, Mimi, because she's already got a little mascara falling.
Oh, no.
But we got some people on here today, Mimi, that are struggling. You did. That are struggling with not knowing how to start over, not knowing how to go through grief. And we're in the holidays.
And I get messages all the time about this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And now you wrote a book.
I did.
Called Sleeping with a Stranger. Mm-hmm. Will you tell this audience, our family, why did you name your book Sleeping with a Stranger? What a great name, by the way.
The strangest thing is, this man, I had known him, your daddy. I had known him, I think I met him when I was 16. And then 20, we married. And so he was with me. We were together everywhere. All over the world. We traveled together. We were, like, a lot of people say, how in the world do you do that married to a preacher and he doesn't go to an office? Of course he would. He had an office. But he had an office at home. So he preferred being at home and he loved being with me. And so it was just the strangest thing that this man we knew each other so well, and then as dementia set in, to watch him forget things.
Now, Mimi, I remember when he got diagnosed, he would not own it.
He never owned it. I can remember the day the neurologist said, you have early onset dementia, Mr. Jones. He listened.
And that was really a fear of his.
He listened and he left. He gets in the car behind the driver's seat because he's still driving. And he said, I will not accept that diagnosis.
Man.
He said, I'm a man of faith, and I know who I am in Christ Jesus, and I will not accept that diagnosis.
Man.
He never accepted it. So really, I never talked to him about it. I never said, you realize you're losing your mind?
And you just kept riding in the car with him?
Not for long. Yes, because he had it 5 years.
Because we got some people right now that are walking through transition. They're like, how do I handle this? God will help.
God will help, because he was the type, I thought, when the doctor even said, so he will eventually not be able to drive. And he said it's because it puts others at risk. It's not just putting you at risk, Ann, he said, but it's putting others at risk. And I said, he just goes, I said, trips, I will drive. I said, but going to the post office and the grocery store, of course he's going to do that, and to church. And so he did until one day. And it was probably a year or two in, because he still drove, but I did not alone. And I absolutely, you know what I miss the most?
Yeah.
What I miss the most is I'm like cooking. And I'm like, baby, I really need some tomato paste. Okay, hon. Straight to the store and back. I had Uber.
Yeah.
Before Uber became
Uber.
And then when he couldn't do it, even today, I have to put everything down, stop everything.
Yeah.
And go to the store. And of course, because I don't Uber, I don't DoorDash. Why don't I do it? I guess I'm going to have to try it just so I can say I've done it. But I like going to the grocery store. But I don't like it when I'm cooking.
Yeah.
Have to go. But so just things started changing. And remember how great an organist he was?
Oh, yes. I remember even when I did Shut Hell Up, my book.
Yep.
And we went into the studio. And he was full blown. He was full blown into dementia at that time. He still sat at that keyboard in that studio and played.
And he certainly did. And he would do it at my house. I had a keyboard in my house.
Yeah.
And he would sit down and play and sing in Indonesian.
Yeah.
He would sing in other languages because we'd learned the languages as we traveled. And then all of a sudden, just one day, he didn't. Just one day, it was over.
Yeah.
He didn't do it. And I'm thinking, even today, I still think, why didn't I record more?
Yeah.
Why didn't I say
Because you
more?
just never know. And I think this is where the enemy comes into, Mimi, because then he starts making you feel bad for not doing stuff.
Yeah.
And we didn't know. We never dreamed. I never dreamed in a million years that my father, that was this boss, would all of a sudden lose his mind. And literally walking through Lenox, I can remember.
Everything around him.
And loved children. Like all of a sudden he turned into loving these kids, and we were like, oh my God, people are going to think he's a pedophile because he walks up to these kids. Because on the outside he looked like a GQ model still.
I know, because I dressed him well.
You dressed him so well.
Yes.
And so you wrote this book for all of you out there. Y'all need to all go get this book, Sleeping with a Stranger, on Amazon.
Because he not only forgot how to play the keyboard or the organ, and how to drive, because there was one day, because everybody asked me, how in the world do you get them not to drive, especially a strong-minded, a man who has done everything for his family, and then you're trying to take his keys away? I mean, how do you do that? So I can remember the day. It's the craziest thing. I can take myself right back to it. We walk into the garage. He hands me the key and says, I want you to drive. Man, he never tried to get back in the driver's seat. I can't. And
because
most
I
people
think
are
this
like,
is the thing.
That's the perfect way to do it.
I really think, though.
Yeah, when it had to be God.
Yeah, when we feel like we're at the end of our rope, and we don't have an answer. This could be for you that is struggling from grief, from a spouse dying or a child dying. When you are suffering with a bad doctor's report, or maybe starting all over again.
And this is called life.
Life. God will direct you.
Absolutely.
But it's the enemy's plan to kill, steal, and destroy.
Absolutely.
And when we get in our own flesh, that's when we start getting discouraged.
Yes.
We start having anxiety attacks. That is a sign when you start having these meltdowns in the middle of a new season that you are not letting God guide you.
And because I lived in a family of emotional sickness.
Yeah.
My mother was emotionally sick after I lost my brother. I was 7 years old when my brother died. And I lost my brother, but I also lost my mother.
Yeah.
My brother was 9, I was 7. And my mother she became addicted to prescribed drugs from doctors. And so later she had 2 more kids. I ended up raising those kids. But because of the emotional sickness, I recognize it. I recognize depression.
Yeah.
I recognize what it looks like because I was raised in a home of depression. But because of that, I am so careful that if I feel like I'm getting there, I leave my house. I go outside. I go with the world.
You are so good about that.
Yeah, I talk to myself, whatever I need to do. So with Dad, there were days he got where he didn't call me. He didn't call my name.
Man.
He was always calling Ann, and then he didn't.
Yeah.
And I remember one day I had him sitting because by then he couldn't, near the end, he couldn't get up himself. He couldn't, I had to seat him on the couch, and he sat there until I got him up. And I can remember I was walking through just doing stuff because I've always been busy. And I heard, Ann.
True.
Out of the clear.
That was like a little kiss from heaven.
And I look over, I went running over to him. I said, "What is it, baby? What do you need?" And he said, and he patted the chair beside him, the couch, and he said, he did this. And I just sat down by him. And the reason I say that is everything was something to him. I mean, the bed we slept on, he chose it. The house we lived in, he chose it because that's who he was. And so I can remember the day I looked at him and said, "The joke's on you, Henry Jones." He had no idea what I was talking about. Couldn't carry on a conversation with me because the very bed that he had to have, this huge monster bed,
go big or go home.
He couldn't even get up in it anymore. He couldn't put his little...
Did you ever struggle with being angry at him?
More time. You mean not because of the sickness?
No, because
so
I think
much
sometimes...
it's just his strength.
Yeah, but sometimes you get angry because you're just like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah.
And it's not anything to do with him. It's just all of a sudden, now you can't... My whole life, he crippled you.
Yeah.
Like, he really did.
He did
like
everything.
You didn't know passwords. You
That's
didn't know
true.
money in the account.
That's true.
He was a man's man. Mm-hmm. You were like a wallflower.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
absolutely,
you have to start taking things over.
And he would say, "You know what? We need a women's ministry." Okay. I started a women's ministry. And we need a choir. Okay. I went to college to get a good degree in music.
Yeah.
Started a fantastic choir. Started even writing the music.
Yeah,
I did whatever.
But something about knowing he was there was a confidence to you. You went and did these things. But
he
now,
said, "You can do this, do it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now...
And then all of a sudden, he couldn't say anything.
And I think somebody needs to hear this that's starting over.
Yeah.
Because it could be being married for 38 years and all of a sudden you're divorced and having to get a job and you may not have worked your whole life and you feel broken.
Yeah.
Mimi, you literally had to take over all the finances.
And you know, that happened, though, within 2 years of him, because he still...
And you didn't even know passwords.
No. In fact, the last year... there was 1 year before we got the diagnosis. I knew something was going on, but I mean, I didn't know what. But he was in Indonesia himself for 4 weeks. I didn't go with him because it was Easter. I had to stay and minister at our church. He was preaching at a mega church in Indonesia on Easter Sunday, and in fact, I even got to see him live stream, which was really neat. But he told me then, he said, "You're going to have to pay our taxes. You're going to have to pay," he said, I've got everything set up online now. So you can, I mean, he was very progressive.
Yeah.
So before most people even knew about online, he was already paying bills online. But I mean, that was even worse for me. And I would be texting him in Indonesia. "Are you sure this is the right username or password? I'm dealing with the government here, honey.
And you ain't never done nothing.
Do you realize I'm paying taxes?" And I did it. And he had a whole notebook full of usernames and passwords. And I'm just thinking, how in the world, if that didn't happen, that he went away, and then when he came back, he said, "You know what? I'm really tired. I'm tired of doing all of this by myself." He would sit at his desk for hours, and he always did this.
Yep.
And then he would write and write and write. I thought, I'll never be able to do all he does. Because, I mean, it was just such
I remember when he just gave up everything,
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he said, you've got to learn this, learn username and password. And it wasn't, if you can do it, do it. But it was like, you will do it.
Yeah.
You will do it.
Yeah. And so, listen to me, y'all.
You will do it.
God says in the Word of God, it says, Mama, in Romans 8:28, it said that God is working all things together for your good. And I feel so heavy in the spirit right now that you understand something, that where you are, God knows it.
Yes.
God is working things together for your good. That thing that you think you can't do. I watched my mother take over the finances. My daddy was always robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And because he was always giving away.
And he
did.
I remember, Mama, I remember him giving cars to people that would literally take the car and leave it in a school parking lot. that was in my father's name.
When it was the lease was
the
up.
lease was up. Just
He was paying the
ungrateful
lease,
humans.
But then they didn't even bring it back.
Ungrateful people. And my daddy was always like that. But because of that, they had a lot of debt. And here he is.
We had so many credit cards when he said, I'm tired of doing this. I want you to do it. And I thought, oh my God, when I started, it was just super overwhelming, the debt we were in.
But
and
girl,
probably 15 credit cards.
Well, I just need a woman to hear this.
Yeah.
Or a man to hear this
Yeah.
right now.
So
she did her thing.
Here's what I remember. I thought that day, you know what, I don't even know where to start with all these credit cards. And he said, and you always pay more than you're supposed to pay, always. And so that was paying, all we had, our income was paying credit cards.
Yeah.
So my son had gone through a Dave Ramsey course and was really good, and he's still good, really good at finances. In fact, I wanted him to be a banker.
He was.
I know he was. But
Y'all took him out and gave him the church.
He was working at a bank. And I mean, then his deal was, I want to go to Bible school.
Yeah.
And I'm like, baby, you can get your finance degree and still pass.
But God still anointed him to do it.
And he is like, and he told me one day, you are setting me up for failure, Mom. I want to go to Bible school. So he did. He did. But he still is a great finance person.
He's so good. So he let you go through Dave Ramsey?
He didn't have to. He just came over and he said, here's what we're going to do. And he made me a whole Excel spreadsheet.
Now, Daddy's still alive.
Yeah. We went upstairs and at the computer,
and Daddy, didn't he go up there?
No. Oh, no.
Done.
And because he didn't even know what I was doing by then.
Yeah.
And so Rob set me up, all these credit cards. He said, start with the smallest. And he said, and you're paying on all of them, and you're paying more like Dad did, but you're targeting. And I started targeting credit cards. And you know what? 2.5 years later, 2.5 years later, our credit cards were off of us. Our second mortgage was off of us.
And Mimi, how much do you think you paid off in that season?
Probably $75,000 at least. At least, maybe.
And y'all's money didn't go up. You just prayed for wisdom, and God gave it to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when she sold her house, because you moved downtown a couple of months ago with me and Rob, you only owed
$3,000 on my house.
A $450,000 house. Mm-hmm. And y'all listen to me. This woman had never.
And I could have paid it off.
Yeah.
But I wanted to wait. There was a reason why.
So Mimi, the reason I wanted to tell this story was because we got some people right now in the holiday season. We got people that are not going to be able to have Christmas like they're used to.
Yes.
Because they're in hard times.
Yes.
We've got people on here that are literally going to spend the first holiday alone. Their first.
Yes.
The first always are hard. The first birthdays, the first holidays.
The first holiday season alone, you don't want to put up a tree.
No. But
you don't want to have that dinner, but you must.
You have to.
You still keep life still goes on.
Mourn and move.
You know what? I used to wonder. I'd sit in the car with my husband as we would go and bury somebody's loved one, and I'm in the car with him because we're pastors, and it just breaks my heart. The whole world is still going. I watch people just passing us on the road as we're leading the family to the cemetery. And I used to say all the time, I just don't get it. Look at us. We're here with this family suffering. And even when it happened to me, life still goes on. Everything goes on and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get up tomorrow
Mimi,
and do it again.
Listen, I remember the night Daddy died. One of the things that you did that was so powerful was you laid over Daddy, and as he's taking his last breath, we're all singing, what was the song?
My Tribute.
My Tribute to my daddy, one of his favorite songs.
Yes.
And you leaned over him and said, baby, serving you for the last 52 years has been my greatest assignment. As he took his last breath, when they came in to get my daddy, his body, they said, would you like for us to get anything else out of here? And you said, everything.
The bed.
The bed. But you were like.
They wanted the bed out.
And the medications. And I remember thinking, oh, God, Mom, I think you're just sad right now. Don't you want to wait for a second? Because it was devastating. And you said, no, your daddy always taught me.
You got to move.
Mourn and move. Mourn and move. And he's in a place that he's always wanted to go.
Yes.
And now I got his legacy to carry out.
And I had no regrets.
Yeah.
I had no regrets.
What do you say about that person that does? Yeah.
Some of you may have regrets. But you know what? You just forgive yourself.
Yeah.
If there were things you failed to do and didn't do, then you know what? Forgive yourself. And then just go
being
on.
a caretaker is hard.
It's hard. And sometimes you get angry with them.
Oh, I remember one time you looked at my daddy and said, "Bring it on." This little 5'1" was like.
Because he became very combative.
He did.
Because of medications that the neurologist had given him. And in fact, it forced him straight into the last stage of dementia.
Yeah, that doctor
And
messed
then
my
that
daddy up.
neurologist told me when I called him, just crying, just sobbing.
Because Daddy would run away.
Oh, he came to your house.
He ran to my
until
house
he couldn't find your house one day.
Whoo, and then we found him on someone's porch crying because
yes.
he couldn't find his way home.
Yes.
And that doctor told you what?
And he said, I said, please, I called him and I said, the pharmacist says this medication has reacted negatively to him, and now he is so combative, I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this. And he said, I said, can you give me a medication that will counteract what you did? And he said, I prefer not to, Mrs. Jones. And that was the last time we talked to that neurologist.
Man, it was hard.
They didn't call from the office. They never asked anything else. He never gave me another medication. But then, so help me, I started that journey. It was 10 more months before your daddy died.
And I even remember Hospice came in like a year before he died.
They came in 10 months.
And that was the greatest gift of
it
our
was.
life.
And I
was to have
told
people-
them, you are
but
my
we thought if
angels.
they come in that he's dying, so we were afraid. But then we let them
But
come
when
in.
they came in, they undid
Yeah.
what the neurologist had done to
Yeah.
us. And they made it, they gave him some medication that made him calm
Yeah.
so that I could work with him.
So
Yeah.
I really want somebody that's watching this today, whether it is a divorce,
Yes.
whether it is a finale that you didn't want to be finale, maybe
Yes.
it is
Maybe
walking.
it's the loss of a job that you've had for years, and then they said they don't need you
Maybe
anymore.
it's a person addicted.
Absolutely.
That you've lost your whole family.
Yes.
The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And he
Yes.
does it through things you don't let go of.
And it's so much
Shame,
worse
the guilt.
holiday season.
It's so hard.
December is a hard month for many
So
people.
me and Mimi both are sitting here telling you today,
You can do it.
you can do it. Not only can you do
You
it,
will do it.
You will do it. You
What
will.
choice do you have?
That's right.
That was my deal. I look at myself. Even today, I live alone, other than I have
Kingston.
Kingston. And I told him yesterday, he's looking at me so adoringly, my little Yorkie. That was my daughter's. In fact, I turn her on and put him down there so he can see her when she's on live. But I will look at him and say, "You're such a sweet boy. You give me so much comfort." And he's just like this.
I remember when Kingston was mine because I got Kingston in the
Oh,
middle.
you needed him too. I think he's a
he was
service
my
dog.
he was my emotional support dog
Yeah.
4.5 years ago when I walked through divorce, and I never had a dog. And all of a sudden, I remember aching when I was away from him. But I remember he'd look at me, and I named him after Daddy,
Yes.
Kingston. But I used Kingston Henry. And I remember looking at him, and the way he'd look at me, I'd be like, if a man doesn't look at me like that, he can't even come in my life because he loves us. He's a good dog.
Yes.
So y'all, today, we're about to shift this off to a break.
Yes.
But I wanted Mimi to come on here because Mimi is a testament. She wrote her first book, Sleeping with a Stranger.
Because he
At
got
how
where
old?
he was a stranger.
How old?
How old?
How old were you when you wrote that book?
74.
She paid off all
you
their
make me
bills.
say that?
Because there are people on here that feel like at 41,
I know.
walking through a
You're
divorce,
never
your life
too
is
old.
over.
You're never too old. I get inspired by people that go to college at 90.
Oh,
Guys,
in
it
the
happens.
RTK inner circle. If y'all ain't my
Yes.
inner circle, y'all got to get my RTK inner circle. Go to realtalkkim.com
That is
and get in
true,
it.
guys.
There are people in that group because I believe both of us have an anointing for awakening something in you. And we've got women that are in their 54, 52 that literally just finished nursing degree.
That is true.
We've got women that literally
I'm
got
so
married
proud
again.
of
I
them.
am so
Yes.
proud. Women that were strung out on drugs that now is leading movements. And
Yes.
so the key is pay attention to who you're letting in your ear. Pay attention to who you're hanging out with. Make sure you're not hanging out with a whole bunch of people that like you broke, and realize that as long as you got a pulse, God's got a plan. If Mimi can start over at 74, I can start over at 36 and 47, then so can you. And so today, go to the bathroom, get your breath, because some of y'all are like, oh my God, I feel like I could do this.
You
Get
can.
your breath.
You
Get
can
your breath.
do this.
Get your breath.
Greater is he
Yes.
that is within you than he that is in the
Yes. And we will be right back.
Yes.
Right after this break. Welcome back. Welcome back, family. I got my favorite girl here with me, and I pray that this podcast has evoked something in you, that it has sparked
Absolutely.
a fire in you, that I don't care if you're 30, because the enemy lies to you. The enemy will say if you're not married by the time you're 31,
You're too old.
you're too old. If you had kids by the time you're 35, and the enemy will get you trapped in your own mind. And so today, Mimi has shared with us that it is never too late. She sold my daddy and her home right there last year,
Yes.
bought
This
her a
year.
high rise this year.
It's only been 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. Bought her a condo down here in Atlanta with me.
Yes.
And next podcast, I'm gonna keep Mimi here, and we're gonna talk about how to get the faith to buy a home by yourself, how to get up and start exercising when you've went from keto into Edo. And I'm telling you, this whole month is gonna be so inspirational. I've got a phenomenal relationship coach coming in. We're gonna be hitting you hard because we're walking into 2024, and I got a whole master class that for the next 3 months, man, I'm gonna be dropping these master classes, helping you. How do I get started? How do I start that business? How do I pay bills after my spouse drops dead and I don't have anybody? How do I get up after my son dies? How do I believe that God is still fighting for me when I feel like he's forgotten about me? And today, that's what this whole podcast has been, Mimi.
It's so
you
inspiring.
can do it, and you will do it. Mimi, thank you for getting up.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for teaching me.
I didn't have a choice.
You did not. Thank you for teaching me and my brother and my sons, my nephews.
Yes.
You have taught us what resilience looks like.
Yes.
And a lot
And
of
you
y'all
don't know it. You don't know that you're being resilient.
Until
You're
resilience all you got.
You're just living life.
Yeah.
But you know what? When you've got God on your side,
Yeah.
I know who's on my side.
Yeah. Mimi,
Yeah.
you think you'll ever get married again?
Who knows?
You might get
I'd
married
have to
again.
really find, he's got to be somebody.
Special.
Yes.
You know what I always tell people, Mimi, is that because you and Daddy had such a great relationship, y'all went through your
'cause
trials.
I can't even
but
think about it.
Y'all were best friends. I always tell people. In fact,
That's what I need. I would like a best friend.
Yeah, we had a lady in our inner circle family that lost her husband, and she was so devastated because it happened out of the blue. See, we grieved every day for 5 years, but when it just is suddenly taken away from you, your best friend, and I told her, girl, listen to me. You might have lost your best friend, but God is the kind of God. This is for marriages that didn't work.
Yes.
This is for that spouse that cheated on you.
Yes.
And now you feel like you are unlovable because he didn't fight for you. It could be a great relationship like my mama had, and you think the best that I had will all I'll ever have. I'll never fall in love again like I did before. And I told this girl, and I'm telling you this, God is the kind of God that he will allow you to experience this amazing love. And then when he says, I need you in heaven, I need this one in heaven.
Yeah.
Then he says, I'm gonna give you another love. It's just gonna be different, but it's gonna be just as good. And I'm watching this lady right now. Somebody's come into her life and she's blown away that God could bring somebody in her life and how she could love somebody else. That's how God is. But you have to be able to open your heart up. You have to literally be able to open your heart up and say, God, I trust you with the places inside of me.
Really, we have to work with God, don't we?
Yeah.
We
You've
really
always
do.
told me that.
Have to work with God.
You got to work
and I've
with
told
God.
him
What does that look like?
I tell him all the time, everything, even when I've had bad diagnosis, because I have several times in my life had some severe diagnosis. And then I would tell him, you show me the path to take, tell me what to do, and I will work with you.
I love that.
So I do that with everything. Everything, I will work with him.
Good.
And whatever he wants me to do.
So y'all, if anything, you should have gotten a big old kick swift in your tail. Big old swift kick in your tail today. You cannot keep complaining because you will remain. You
That's
cannot
true.
be critical and powerful.
That's good.
You cannot be a warrior and a worshiper. I know you may be feeling like the world has been ripped out from under you and you cannot find your footing, but I'm here to tell you today that it ain't over until you draw your last breath. And when you draw your last breath, He's taking you to eternity.
To the next level.
I remember, y'all, and I got to tell this really quickly. When my daddy was dying, I just knew my daddy was going to be healed. I knew that the world was going to watch my daddy get healed. And when he started taking his last breath, I leaned over and I said, God, why didn't you heal my dad? And I heard the Lord say, I did heal him. Yeah. Just not the way you wanted it. He got his ultimate healing. Yes. And I even said, and I'm so ashamed of this, I even said, why didn't you take my ex?
She did.
And I remember God said, we got two problems here, Kim. You need to heal still from your ex, and you need to understand that your daddy was ready.
Yes.
And I'm a God of more than enough chances. And your ex was not ready. And so that did something for me.
You know, we've met so many people that live in fear of the what ifs.
Yes.
They live in that fear of what ifs. And we could have done that because we couldn't imagine that we would be living after Dad was gone.
Never.
We never dreamed what it would look like because he was vital.
He was everything.
He was to our whole life. He was in everything, to business decisions, church decisions, family decisions, everything. And then so we couldn't imagine, but all we knew was that we had to trust God.
Yes. So today, friend,
that's faith.
I just stretch your hands out there. We believe today for you. We are praying for you. The Bible says one will put 1,000 to flight, but two will put 10,000 to flight. And today, I prophesy over you that you shall live and not die.
And a new day's coming.
Yes, that you will believe the report of the Lord.
Yes.
That says as long as you ain't dead, God ain't done. He says in Jeremiah 29:11,
Thank you, Father.
He said, for I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord, plans to bless you and not harm you, give you a future and a hope.
And he doesn't stop there. He says, if you seek me with all your heart, I will let you find me.
Yes.
So it's, it's not just about him coming and overtaking you and making you do something. It's you opening yourself up to saying, God, I'm ready.
So just stretch out your hands with us today and come into agreement that you are ready. That you are ready, that you are not letting your past dictate your future another day in your life, and that you are taking the limits off of a limitless God. I speak life over you. I speak promise over you.
Amen.
I speak revitalist over you. I speak redemption over you. And everything the enemy has stolen, that God is going to bring back into your life 7 times greater. In the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. And amen. Y'all, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Lord.
If you're in Atlanta, we want to invite you to Limitless Church. So privileged that I get to pastor the greatest church, I believe, in America.
We have such a wonderful family church.
It's Limitless Church across from Whitewater High School, 1653 Highway 85 South, Fayetteville, Georgia, 30215, 10 and 11:30 every Sunday. And I also want to invite you, get in my RTK inner circle. Listen, this is a community and you cannot do life alone. You need me in your life to help push you to breakthroughs and not breakdowns. So go to realtalkkim.com. That's where you'll find out all you want to know about me. I cannot wait. Also, I just dropped a RTK home collection. Lots of fun clothes. All my books. Just dropped a new book. You gotta get up. All of it can be found on my website, rtkstyle.com. Happy shopping. And we got Black Friday coming up, Mimi. All right? I love you guys. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. Thank you for loving us. I love you so much. Do you love them?
Love you guys so much.
And we will see you next week.
Yay Networks.